Good morning, painters. We're live from the patio in Colorado. Hope your weekend is off to a great start. Let me know. We've got the two camera angle view. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? If you can hear me, click a quick yes in the chat if you're joining us. But hey, today we're going to talk about pushing our color. And so what we're going to do, and that's because a subscriber asked. TJ has asked me a couple times now to do a demonstration to talk about pushing your color. So I'm going to take a plein air painting that I've done in the past years ago, right over there, and we're just going to kind of replicate it a little bit and work on certain areas and talk about, why would you want to push your color? What are the benefits of pushing your color? How do you push your color? Should you? So even if you think to yourself right now, hey, I'm good with my colors, I'm not a colorist, I don't want to push my colors, stay tuned. I think you're going to be missing out because that's not all what this is about. We're going to talk about how to selectively do it. It doesn't mean you have to blast color all over your painting, okay? So again, welcome. If you're in the chat, say a quick hello. All right, AZ's with us. Good morning, buddy. Thanks for joining us. And yeah, I wasn't sure because I finally figured out the two camera angle view, and I was like, oh man, I don't know if the sound's gonna work. So I'm excited about that. But let's see. So we're live here in Colorado. We're here every Friday at 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time to just to kind of get pumped up for plein air painting, to become better painters, encourage and inspire one another in our painting and bounce ideas off each other and just practice really. We do skills trainings out here is what we do. So, but we are going to make a slight tweak to the Friday morning show. So stay tuned to the end. I'm going to mention that. But let's get started. So why don't let's do this. Okay, I'm going to grab this painting real quick. Hi, Keith. Good morning. Glad you could be with us, man. Awesome. Appreciate you being here, buddy. I'm going to grab this painting real quick. And again, this is, sorry about that. This is a painting that I did. Let's just look at this. I did this in, 2019. Okay, 2019. It is a gallery wrap. So you guys paint on these as well. Gallery wrap means it's just wood frame stretched over with canvas, primed canvas. I was painting on these for a while because I was doing some local shows. And it was easier in my tent to hang these. I don't do too many tent shows anymore. I only do one a year maybe. But this painting, let's talk about color. Okay, so here, let me get this. Okay, there we go. So this isn't like some masterpiece. I just picked it again because it's an easy 3-piece painting, and we could talk about it. And I think it's a piece that I can kind of pump up a little bit more with colors in certain areas. And I want to point one thing out really quick right off the bat. Okay. Is again, I would grade myself like maybe a C plus on this painting. There's some things I like about it. Most of all, I like the memory, man. It was fun. It was fun to be out there, and it's just a gorgeous place in Utrecht, Colorado. But here's what happens when, and I'm not against black. Okay, I'm not against black, ivory black, or Mars black. But when you use too much black, too much of a good thing can be a bad thing, right? I don't love my tree shadows there because at the time I had black on my palette, and I don't really carry it on my palette anymore. And so I wanted to point that out. Now, my wife really, really loves these footsteps in the snow kind of thing. These, she said, "Oh, you really popped those." I was like, it's kind of cool. And that's what I saw. It was a hiking path up in the mountains. But I'm going to talk about this tree and look at how we could pop that. One thing I don't like about this tree, sometimes we critique paintings here, or my paintings really, is I was a little bit too strokey here. And I talked about strokey in the past, and that's too many strokes in the same direction doing the same thing. Boring. So I would grade myself a C on that tree right there. I do like this. That was a palette knife. The mountains are kind of cool, but I think we can make some changes to that. Okay, so I'm going to put this back, and that's that. And we're going to kind of get into this right away. There's a lot to talk about. And again, as usual, if you have comments, tips, other people read your chat and they appreciate your tips. Hey, Deborah, good morning. Good to have you. We're just talking about pushing your color. So if you are joining us live, good morning. Grab a beverage of choice, settle in, and let's talk color, right? And that's why we paint, don't we? I mean, even if you're a tonalist or use a lot of neutral grays and stuff, we paint just because we like paint and we like color. So let's talk about it. Okay, so let's look at this real quick. I want to show you this. Just kind of for self-study. Let's talk about color real quick. And again, if you're in the chat, say a quick hello. We're just doing a plein air live show here on the patio, and then we'll get to the quote of the day. But I want to show you this. Okay, I love, love, love this. I don't know if you can see the colors like I can, but it's just a cool, a really neat painting. The little child, I think is what it is all in shadow. And then it's got these brilliant pops of color, you know? And so let me just throw the quote of the day out right now because it'll make sense as I show you these pictures. Here's our quote of the day. No great artist ever sees things as they really are. If he did, he would cease to be an artist. Oscar Wilde. Or we can read it like this. No great artist ever sees things as they really are. If she did, she would cease to be an artist. For you ladies out there. All right, so that's by Oscar Wilde. So no great artist ever sees things as they really are. And isn't that so kind of captivating that we have to use our imagination. We have to show and tell a story to our viewers through our artwork. And that's what I see here. Was the background really that yellow? Was that necessary to do that? I don't know, but I love it. And it's complementary colors, right? Yellow and blue, orange and violet, you know, and just love that. Here's another one, okay? We'll just put that right over there. I was in Santa Fe. I go to Santa Fe periodically for inspiration because all the it's just an art mecca. If you want to get inspired, go to Santa Fe, New Mexico. So this isn't really necessarily like a masterpiece painting, but I want to show you that the shadows, okay, those shadows captivate me, really get my attention because they're the complementary color of the yellow. There's some violets and there's some blues in there, and I just think that this artist, I think her name's Deborah Gold, was making a tremendous statement about color. So we'll get on to painting here in a minute, I promise, but I think it's important that we look at this just one more, and you can kind of see what I'm talking about what our quote of the day is. No artist sees things as they really are. When we push color, we're not, you know, not necessarily trying to replicate exactly what's out there. And we're using our imagination, our memory. Like, look at those clouds, look at that sky. Was it that blue? I don't know, maybe. Were those clouds that on fire? I don't know, but it's beautiful. It's got my attention. So that's kind of one thing, that we're talking about. And I kind of did this. This isn't about showing my artwork, but I'm trying to show you examples. I did these in the summer. I did these 30-minute sunset paintings where I went out for 30 minutes and I just painted. It's wrapped in plastic because I sell these, but maybe you can still see the colors. It's just that's a good example of my work, I guess, of just trying to really push the color. It's really fun to do. So, all right, let's get going here. We got a quote of the day, and then real quick, this whole live stream here is brought to you by the new Facebook group called the Learning Plein Air group. If you haven't joined, get the link in the description. No, maybe the link isn't there. Just go to Facebook and just type in Learning Plein Air group. All right, I want to read what Deborah is saying here. Van Gogh, if you hear a voice tell you you can't paint, then by all means paint, and that voice will be silenced. Hey, I love that, Deborah. That's awesome. Yeah, exactly. And that's true, right? I think a lot of people are afraid to push their colors, and so that's a good point. Thank you, Deborah. Is you got to silence that voice, silence that voice, and don't be afraid to go bold sometimes with color. So thank you, Deborah. And so let's see what else. Let's get going. So why? I'm gonna grab my brush. You can see the palette view, I think. And so I'll kind of remove myself, get out of the way, and we'll get to painting. And hopefully you can hear me. You can see me. If you can't, just say something. But just want to say what AZ says. Deborah, thanks. Heard that voice the other day. Awesome, AZ. Hope you were in the zone, in the painting zone, man. So let's get going. So I think I put the sky in this new painting right here because I just wanted to get something down to kind of get us a head start. And immediately I kind of noticed a difference because whatever you do with the sky, it's really going to dictate the light of your painting. You may know that, you may not know that, but why are we pushing color? Here, let me tell you why. Because as I said in my newsletter, if you haven't signed up for my newsletter, please do so. The link is in the description under the free videos. Those free videos that are unlisted on YouTube, like the 4Ps and how to draw those ones and plein air setup. Click there and that'll get you access to my newsletter. But I was just saying that it creates contrast in your painting, and contrast creates interest. And really that's what I'm trying to do constantly in my paintings, is create interest through various methods, and color is one of the main ones, right? And so also it's another way to express yourself. If you're not used to going strong with color, It's another way to, I feel like I'm going to fall off my stool. It's another way to express yourself in a unique way. And really what you're doing is you're taking some sunglasses and you're just putting them there and you're saying, hey, take a look at the world the way I envision it, the way I saw it last week, the way I saw it in my dreams, the way I remembered it, the way I want to see it, you know? So that's why we're doing this with color. It's just a different way to express yourself. It's very, very cool. So, all right, I'm just checking the chat as we go here, but let's get flying. So here's kind of tip number one as I get mixing is that you know, take your focus off the grays, right? Kind of obvious, but let's talk about this. Is if you're an artist who is trained in doing, you know, 3 or 4 value piles of grays, or if your tendency is to mix up to a neutral gray first and then go to color, I can see why it's a bit of a struggle to push your color sometimes. And so you're just going to have to put that aside for a second, and you're going to have to not be afraid to dip into pure color and mix, you know, mix a green right from blue and yellow right there, you know, and instead of going to a neutral color first. So that's kind of obvious, but so we're going to look at this tree right here, and I'm going to try to pop that tree a little bit better. And then I'm going to do something with that forest because I don't like that I use too much black. You know, it's kind of like garlic in an Italian meal, right? A little bit of garlic tastes awesome. A lot makes you want to barf. So it's the same thing with too much black. But I do, if you can see my palette and you're like, hey, dude, I see black on your palette, man. What are you talking about? I was working on a commission the last couple of days. That's the only reason I use black, if I got to do something that I normally don't do. And so that's why that's there. But okay, so let's look at this tree and let's just see what we can do. I'm going to go into ultramarine blue. Stop talking, Terry. Just start painting, man. Hope you guys are having a good week, had a good week, and I hope you got the brushes wet and got out there. So I'm just going into, hopefully you can see me. I'm looking up to see what you can see. Yeah, you can see the palette view pretty good, I think. But I'm mixing up the shadow color of that tree. I'm just going to go with a little red. All right, just to cool it. I went with ultramarine blue. Then I went with yellow. Let's go a little phthalo blue. Let's really cool it so you can see what the colors do. So I'm gonna just stick with that, okay? But really what I want to show you is not the shadow. I don't really care about that right at this second, but I do care about it in a couple minutes here. I'm gonna talk to you about that. But let's just get that shadow in there, you know, in the tree. Nothing serious. We'll do this one too, you know. This is a different color shadow. But I'm going to put this mountain color in because, you know, one of my points I'm going to make here is it's not all about just dipping into yellow to pop your colors. That's not what it's all about. There are other ways to do it. Hey, Bob, what's going on, man? Bob from France. Good to have you, buddy. We're just talking about popping your colors. This is a Plein Air Live. If you're in the chat, say hello. If you're watching on replay, just drop us a comment. Feel free to skip around the channel and watch some other tutorial videos. Just dipped into a little permanent rose to kind of cool that shadow a little bit on the tree. But so like I was saying, on that tree in that plein air painting there, I was a little too strokey in the light. I didn't like it. It's okay. It's not horrible, but let's just go like this. And we were talking about it last week, when you're mixing, when you want a pure color, mix with your palette knife. So I'm going to go into, let's just really punch it, man. I'm going to go into cad yellow. Okay. So notice I'm not mixing from grays. I'm just going right into pure colors. And I'm just going to go, let's just take a little bit of that green that I just mixed, not much, and just put it in that yellow. Okay. And just take a look. You know, we can test it. Look how bright that is. You know, look how much of a pop that is. Now, is that accurate? Probably not. Is it pretty cool? I like it. So when you're talking about popping your colors, go a little bit further, you know, than what you're comfortable with doing is my kind of first suggestion. If you've got a summertime sunset going on, that's a good way to pop is the cad yellow medium, cad orange. I'm just using a palette knife. I really don't know why, just because I'm lazy to switch over to my brush. But see, there's another way that we can kind of really pop that light on that tree. Now, this is important. I want to show you this, okay? If you don't like it and you're like, oh my gosh, it hurts my eyes. I hate it. take me back to where I was before. It's no big deal, right? It's no big deal. So you can just go like that, you can just scrape it off, man. You scrape it off. No big deal. Problem solved, right? And then I just take my brush and I blend, I blend it out. No big deal. So I'm back to square one, right? So I just want to show you that don't be afraid to go where no man or woman has gone before. Be a little bit bold, make a statement, okay? And then it's no big deal. You can back off, okay? You can back off that. And here I'm just painting the light on the tree. You guys have heard me say before, I'm not painting a tree. I'm just painting the light part of the tree, That's it, So that's cool. That's not like that, but I just want to show you how it could have been, you know what I mean? And so what we can do is, let me just say this about if you're used to reaching into gray puddles, okay, is that you just got to do it. You got to reach into these instead. That's step number one. You just have to not be afraid and just do it, because you can reverse it like I just showed you. So it's no big deal. And so the key is don't muddy up your colors. A lot of beginners, they're so focused on color mixing and getting it right that they just end up making a muddy mess, right? And so that's kind of under tip number one, is you got to get away from the gray scales of mixing up to a gray and then adding color. That won't really help you. So just don't be afraid to dip into pure colors. And then let me see if I can tell you this next point right now or not. I'll just kind of, okay, I guess we could do it like this. If you are that person and you can't really get away from, mixing up to a gray, is you got to let off the gas on one of the complementary colors, right? And that will, you guys know the color wheel. So the way you get those grays all the time is you're always using complementary colors to get a gray. Well, you got to let off the gas with one of them and punch it with the other complementary color. Okay, kind of obvious, but some beginners may not know that. So that'll get you away from muddy gray mixtures, right? So let's get into like tip number two here and it's all about comparing and contrasting. So I think I'm just going to tell you this point right now is if the one way to pop your colors is to focus on the light, but the other is to focus on the shadow or the color around it. So I'm always comparing, as you guys know, I always talk about that. I'm comparing like color to like color. What color is this tree shadow compared to the tree shadows over here compared to the mountain shadows? So I just went a little darker with a complementary color, like a violet, blue. Let's get a little more phthalo blue. Let's just go really dark with it with phthalo blue. Okay, I don't know if you can see that, but that's a lot of phthalo blue right there. And when it bumps up next to that yellow, the yellow pops. So you need to know that. If you want to pop a color, it's not just the color in the light. You got it. Hey Dan, good morning, man. Glad to have you. It's you got to try to manipulate the shadow colors as well to make that light color pop. Now, can you see that? Can you see how that light pops just by making that shadow darker? Can you see that? So that's another thing. Okay, let's look at that mountain real quick. Okay, so I'm going to mix up the shadow. The way I can remember this day, I really can remember this day. I remember a lot of the days when I paint. It's ingrained in my memory. The light was weird. In Colorado, it's almost like some days you're wearing sunglasses and the sky is like tinted a weird like greenish color or yellow ochreish color and that's what was going on this day. And again, I don't love, that painting. Now you can see, I think it was close to this time of year because there were some dead aspens. Like what I could do is there were some colorful oranges. I could go into titanium white, cad yellow, and I could really make a statement about those dead trees, like right in there. They were going, sporadically and really make those kind of bold, like that. And can you see that I've got a dark wash on here? Can you see that? And when I put this orange on, did you see what just happens? Like someone just turned the lights on. So another way for you to pop your colors is to think about your wash. Okay, here's a suggestion. You don't have to take it, but don't do your wash in the same color every time you go out. Like your burnt sienna and your whatever, or your orange. Or like I get in that habit sometimes too. But if you want to pop your colors, try a wash in the comp. Don't use titanium white for your wash, but try a complementary color like violet. Try making a darker wash, and that will help you leverage your color popping ability as well. But I think that aside from colors, that's a key point, is don't don't just use the same wash every time you go. You know, use a warm wash sometimes, and then use a cool wash, you know, other times. Okay. Just being very abstract here about this, just so you can see colors and shapes. But let's get the mountain color in real quick. Okay, I'm going to go because it's going to help me read other colors. And that's part of my points here is I'm going to go into titanium white. Let's go with cobalt blue for the mountain color, a little cobalt blue. And then you can go cad red. Let's just go alizarin crimson, just a tad bit of alizarin crimson. I don't want to go too dark a value. I know we're not talking about values, but let's make it just a little darker because I was fairly close to the mountain that day. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you how to pop the light on the mountain just a little bit more. Let's go into like cad red. Oh, too much red. No big deal. How about cerulean blue? Let's just use let's use all our colors, man. And you know, that's I don't love. That's a grayish color. So what I'm trying to teach you is when you get up to a gray like that, step on the gas with the other complementary colors. So that's a gray violet. So I'm going to go, man, I really want my shadow on the mountain to say something. I really want people to see just the beautiful colors that were out that day, you know. So then I put more blue in there and less orange, you know what I mean? And then I get something, you know, like that. So we can work with that. So let me just get that on the mountain just real quick. So comparing and contrasting, tip number 2 is, you know, I said it in my newsletter, is that, you know, you don't want to spy on your neighbors at home, but you always want to be spying on your neighboring colors in plein air painting. Because like I said, no color appears what it is, you know, unless it's really what's beside that color that determines what that color really is, right? You've heard me say that. If you haven't, hey, Ron, good morning, man. I'm late. You're okay, buddy. You're right on time. You're stylishly late, Ron. No worries. We're just talking about pop and color here, man. And so it's comparing and contrasting, right? And so I'm looking at the color of this compared to the color of that. But I really want to go a little more on the blue side here in the mountains and just kind of make a statement. Like, what if I just went into like cerulean blue, ultramarine blue, like a lot of ultramarine, pure ultramarine. Let's just put a little white in there. Like, what if I just went like that? That's super cool. Titanium white, cerulean blue, no red whatsoever. Look at that. That just is a beautiful, beautiful color. Now, is it right? I don't know. Probably not, but it looks, we're talking about popping your color. It doesn't have to be right. It really doesn't. It doesn't have to be right. You're showing your viewer and expressing yourself, you know, in a different way through the use of colors, you know? And so I'm just blending. You see, I don't care. I don't really care. I got orange in there. I don't really care. I like that. I just got some happy accent orange in there. I don't really. So that's a nice, beautiful, you probably can't see it like I can, but it's a nice, beautiful cobalt blue color, right? And so, okay, let's pop the light on the mountain. All right, don't be afraid. Now, you generally want to save your warmest and coolest temperatures for the foreground. You've heard me say that. And your darkest darks. You got to think in terms of atmospheric curtains. I don't want to go off on a rabbit trail, but it all relates, right? But when you're talking about punching your color, you're not trying to replicate reality. You're just trying to make a statement. And let me just say this before I get going. As I do the light, I'll mix up the light. Okay, you don't have to change your whole painting style to be a colorist, to use color popping ability effectively. You don't have to. But, okay, let's just say you did your whole painting in neutral grays, flat paint, not a lot of texture. Well, wouldn't it be cool? Wouldn't your viewer like to, let's just say this was all kind of just neutral grays, tonalism painting. If I just came along and said, man, let's just go like this. Light on the mountain. Whoa. I mean, look at how that just lit up, you know? It's just kind of super cool. It's just a fun statement. It's just fun to do, you know? And it says something different, you know, about so you can just do it in one area. I could just stop right there. And the rest of my painting, I could make flat with no thickness, no color popping. But then there again, you know, that's an effective way to pop your colors. You don't have to just go like color popping crazy all over your whole painting, really, you can effectively use colorful neutral grays around around the rest of your painting, and then save it, save it for a certain area of your painting. Perhaps it's your area of focus or not, and you could use it that way. So I'm just trying to tell you, those of you who are afraid of popping color or I don't want to be a colorist, man. No, that's not my style. That's not what we're talking about. We're just talking about how can you use color a little bit more boldly to express yourself in a different way and have your viewers go, whoa, that's cool, man. That's all we're talking about. And so I'll stop there. I won't do the whole mountain, but you get the point, right? It's just fun. So I mean, I could do this for another 20 minutes. It's just fun to do, right? So that just kind of says some statements about the light right there. This is just practice, right? If you're joining us late, we just practice. We do skills practice, and we just talk. And if you're in the chat and you got suggestions on how you've used color popping lately or what you like to do, throw it in there, man, because my ways are never the right ways, right? It's just how I do it. And if I can help you, great. If not, no worries. Okay, so what else? We did the tree there, and we could even go like even more brilliant on that tree like that, and just have real fun with it on the light, back and forth between light and shadow, just dipping into pure color right now. Really, I'm mixing on the tree. I'm using the dark in the tree to mix with the yellow. I'm just blending them together. Sometimes I push hard on the brush and go back and forth so that they blend. Like, look, I can blend this out right here. Look, I just blended all that out and saved it for there. And now I really want to show how the light is hitting like right down there. Bam. You go back and push on the gas, with the yellow right there. So back here, maybe I want to show a little more depth and get rid of that color. It's too bright. I want to show some recession and atmospheric perspective. Just blend it out, man. Just blend it. You're good. Or even more so, put a little more red in there, and neutralize it. It's no big deal. A little more red completely takes that out. And now we've got a little bit more atmospheric perspective in those trees right there. So, let's do this real quick as we keep talking that forest. And again, hello, if you're joining us late, if you're getting some value out of this, man, it really helps me if you hit the like button. And if you haven't subscribed and you like this kind of stuff, hit the subscribe button now, man. We'd love to have you. We've got a cool group of people, as you can see, and a lot of them are on here right now. So we're glad to have you all. So what else can we say about this is that, contrast creates interest. Remember that. Contrast of color, cool and warm, light and dark, creates interest in a painting. So I'm going to go into this forest because if you joined us late, here's what I want to say. I like black, but I used too much black. At that time, I had black in my palette, and I used too much black to mix this forest. Now, if you're looking for a cool middle ground, mid-tone green, you can use black, like black and yellow ochre, black and ultramarine blue and yellow ochre. Those are very cool middle ground greens with black, and I'm not opposed to doing it. I just don't have black in my palette right now. I just really resist it. I like to use colorful. I can make black with alizarin crimson and phthalo blue, or burnt umber and ultramarine blue. You can make black 50 different ways, right? So, all right, cool. Let's just work on this forest as we keep talking about our tips here. And what have I missed? Okay, we did this with the trees. Hope I made my point there with the trees. About light and shadow and about just doing something. It was like fall, late, like kind of this time of year, maybe November, and it had these beautiful orange colors, coming from sporadically coming in there, but I'm pushing them even more right now. I'm not really mixing. I'm just doing orange and yellow, just to show you. And then see, I've got this blue right here, and that really makes that, when I make an orange, the complementary color of the blue. Wow, look at the contrast that we've created just messing around and talking already. And I'm going to take it up a level because I'm going to show you how to do this, the dark there. Okay, so you want to, okay, I believe you, Terry. Let's get away from black. Okay, let's show me, man. How do we do it? So I go phthalo blue. All right, I'm going to push my yellow out of there, get rid of this white, and I go phthalo blue. I go alizarin crimson. I've even got some green in there from my previous mixture, but that's fine. Okay. And then, let's just add a little titanium white, because then it reveals what tint you have. That's a violet. I really like that. Heck, let's just go. I'm going to put a lot of cerulean blue in there. Just a big old thing of cerulean blue. Boom, look at that. I love that. I like to make colorful shadows. And let's just put that in there. You know what? Let's go a little more white. Let's just go a little more white because I want to see what I got here. Can you see the palette? I think you guys can see the palette. The sun is kind of shining too, but I really want to make this, let's see, what color do we want to lead this shadow to? We can go reddish. We can go more bluish. I mean, it just depends, right? I did that, video on why your greens were flat, and I talked about simultaneous contrast. I don't want to get too heady here at this time of the morning, but the eye requires the complementary color of green, just so you know that. So when you're making your trees, just know that they've proved it scientifically that your eye, their eye, your viewer's eye, more importantly, is looking for red. So let's just go alizarin crimson. Let's go alizarin crimson, and let's lean these tree shadows more on the side of red. There, that's a really reddish. Might be hard for you to see because I originally did that so dark, but when I bump it up next to the lights, can you see how that really makes the orange colors stand out? Okay, let's just take it up a notch further. Permanent rose. I'm not even going to mix it. I'm going to mix it on the canvas. Okay, I'm not even going to mix it on my palette. I'm just going to mix it on the canvas. Permanent rose. Pure permanent rose. Look at that. Oops. Hey, what are you doing, moron? I'm having fun. That's what I'm doing. Okay, so let's just go in there. See, I can blend it out. It's no big deal. I can blend it out. But I know that the eye likes to see red. Maybe not that much red, but we're talking about popping your colors, man. So I'm going to leave it in. What the heck? I'm going to leave it in. And somebody who likes color is going to look at this and be like, wow, man, that's pretty cool. But I'm just showing you, I'm not only just having fun and putting bright colors on the canvas, I'm telling you, hopefully, the reasons why we do it and how you do it, right? And it's by comparing what colors are next to that color and knowing your color wheel and stuff like that. Well, let's just go blue. Let's just go pure cerulean blue. No mixing. I'm just going to mix it on the board, on the canvas right here. I don't know if you probably can't see this as well as I can. Pure cerulean blue. Look at how bright that is. I didn't even mix it. Now let's just say, okay, that's too bright. Well, I can blend it in. There. I left a little bit so you could see it, but not much. Hey, we got a comment. Let's just look. Picked up the color swatches from the hardware store, and they had 4 values of that color. Great for learning how to mix those color values. Cool. Oh, you did that, AZ. Good job, buddy. Yeah, last week's video, if you missed it, we took color swatches from the hardware store, and we tried to match them because there's just no getting around it. It's just a fabulous way to try to do it. And what I would recommend is, hey, AZ, did you use all your colors when you tried to match, or did you just use a limited palette? Either way, it's no big deal, but it's fun to use a limited palette, just the 3 primary colors, to color match, because it forces you to zig and zag quite a bit. And you can really learn a lot that way. So I've got pure cerulean blue right here. Just let's do the tops of those just real quick. Pure cerulean blue right there. I'm just kind of letting the happy accents happen. I don't really care. Now, the way you can show depth, if you haven't realized from my teachings before, use a limited palette. Good job. Yeah. So how was it, man? Was it hard? I mean, it was hard. You could see me struggling. I mean, I wasn't afraid to show you guys how it's not easy. Even the most seasoned painters have trouble matching color swatches. So don't feel bad about that. But what was I saying? I don't know. I totally lost my thought. Oh, if you want to show depth, darken up these evergreens in the foreground. That pushes the mountain back, almost immediately. So I don't want to get rid of all my nice color, but I can bump that up against the orange, blue and orange, kind of close on the color wheel, opposites. A little more blue in here. Okay, so I'm just always being aware of what color it's next to. I'm aware of the color wheel, blues and oranges, greens and reds. And I try to use that information to help my colors pop. Okay, so, all right, I'm missing something here. I don't know. I think it's a swig of coffee. Hope you guys are having a good painting week, or you're going to get out this weekend. The weather here in Colorado is it's fabulous. It's like 60 degrees and sunny, and man, I haven't been out in a while because I've been working hard doing other things. But I'm going to get out in the next few days. But This is really why I live here. This time of year is fabulous. But yeah, mixing and blending on the canvas creates harmony in the painting. Yeah, yeah. You can. We're not talking about that. Thank you, Dan. We're not talking about that. But many of the great colorists and impressionists will tout mixing and blending on the canvas. Some people say, "Oh, never blend," but I like to. I like to blend, because it creates interest, and you can mix right on the canvas. I think another popular artist who does that out of California is Camille Prizwodek. Real kind of an odd name, but Camille, look her up. She does some cool color mixing stuff. She's a wily veteran that knows her stuff. Okay, we're moving on here. I think we got one more tip for you. What time is it? Whoa, okay. Hang with me, guys. We got one more good tip here. Hold on. Hey, use more paint, man. Use more paint. If you want to pop your colors, you got to put some color on there. You can't just barely skid mark across the canvas. I mean, you can, but say something bold, man. Say something bold. Dip into pure cad yellow, maybe a little bit of green, but just pure cad yellow, and just say something bold about these trees with thick paint like that right there. It's just fun, and it says something, I know that paint's expensive. Use student grade paints. You don't have to use artist grade when you're just learning, or even in the first few years, you don't have to. Even when you're professional. I mean, I do this full time. I have some student grade paints that I use. No big deal, man. And here's the thing. All right. Sometimes Terry's got to talk to you like how it really is. Go out to eat less and buy more paint. Yeah, that's what the Impressionists would have done, right? Right, Bob? Bob's in France. He knows. The Impressionists, if they had a choice between bread and paint, they'd get the paint, man. I'm just kidding. But hey, there are things we can do to make it so that in life we can get our art supplies. If you know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? So let's keep cruising along here. What have I missed? Hit the like button if you're getting a little bit of value out this, or at least slightly amused, or if you feel sorry for them. No, I'm just kidding. The like button helps YouTube get this out to other people who wouldn't normally see it. So appreciate that. And welcome again if you're just joining us. We're doing a live. We're almost done here, but let me know what else. We can do the Q&A on the fly here. We do a live Q&A at the end, and if you have questions, you got to go. Throw them in there, man, and I'll read right now. So what are you struggling with? What videos do you want me to make? What do you want me to do? Just let me know, and I'll try to do it. Okay? I'll try to do it if I can, to try to help you. But I do have an announcement about this show I want to make here in a few minutes at the end, so stay tuned for that if you're a regular. Okay, so we got lots of bold colors. We're having a lot of fun. What we didn't do is the foreground. I think we better just really quickly do this because, like I say, it's the color beside the color that really matters, So I didn't do the snow too bright there because, like I said, on that day, it was kind of like a tinted green, like sunglasses, like, weird kind of a lighting situation. So we're talking about mixing on the canvas. I just dipped into a bunch of, big titanium white, and that was too bright for me. Like I say, if you go too much color pop, you can always dial it back. No big deal. Like, watch, I'll just mix it into it as I go right there. See? No big deal. I got a lot of blues in the snow there, which is kind of cool. Could act as like shadows or just make kind of cool colors. But, we could kind of make that snow there. Whoa, we're getting all kinds of weird colors here. Just a little different than it was to show maybe a brighter day, right? Like when the sun's shining more brightly, you're going to have more contrast between the light and the shadow. But hey, who cares? We're not talking about trying to replicate things. We're talking about what can I do to go in a different direction artistically. Are you bored with your paintings? Are you in a rut? Try to pop more colors in certain areas. You don't have to do the whole painting like I just did. We're just practicing. So try it, man. And then shadows, okay, I don't know. We could go bolder with those shadows, right? Here's pure cobalt blue. Not even really mixing it much. Just pure cobalt blue shadows in the snow, a little bit. So those are more purple shadows in the actual painting I did. These are a little more blue shadows. It's just a choice that you can do. right? And then I didn't do this little bush right here. The way I did that bush, if you want to know, is I just took my palette knife, went into alizarin crimson, and I just went like this. I really just went like this, and really just kind of that's kind of more or less, you know, how I did that bush. Nice and dark, right? This is one of my darkest darks, and you can make that more colorful by just adding different colors in, like maybe red, in there. That's pure CAD red that I just mixed on the canvas while I was going on the fly. Okay, so now I got this nice dark, red bush, and if I see it's too red, I just go over it with other colors. No big deal. Okay, so there we go. Some in there. Just have fun with it. So, what else, man? Let's just stop right there. I think you get the point. I think we covered a lot of our tips. And if you have a question, go ahead and fire it out. Or if you have a tip for somebody else. A lot of people watch these on replay, and so that could be helpful if you had something to offer there. And so I appreciate Deborah's comment and AZ and everybody's comments, Dan and Ron. Ron says, how do you pick the color for the wash? Does it depend on the location or the subject? Good question, Ron. We were talking about that. How do you pick the wash? I try to be purposeful about my wash because I think it really, it's kind of like setting the table before you eat. It gets covered up, but sometimes it doesn't, And so, look, I mean, okay, so if it's summertime and it's just brilliant green colors and yellows and oranges, just brilliant, sunset, or in the morning, I'm probably going to go with maybe like a really bright wash, like a cad orange and a cad medium, and really make my canvas like completely bright. That's one option. I guess the short answer, Ron, is for me, there's no real right answer. You can't really go wrong, but here's where you can go wrong is doing your wash the same color, same time, every day, every time. That I don't think I wouldn't do that. I know it's habitual and I know we have our habits, but don't do it. Try doing your wash with cerulean blue and alizarin crimson. That's what I did for this. And it will allow you to pop your colors. Or if you don't want to pop your colors and it's a gray day, then you've already got that kind of middle tone wash, neutral gray color on your canvas. So that's how I think about it. I think about the light. I think about the colors. What am I trying to do? Do I want to create contrast with my wash? Do I want my wash to just fire up my engines for what I want to do, like warm and bright, or cool and gray? So that's how I think about it. I hope that helps you. If you other guys have, I think Bob just said, do you always use a wash? Okay, good question, Bob. I always do. Some painters better than myself will paint on a white canvas, and more power to you. But I was taught in Russian Impressionism that that if you tone your canvas a mid-tone, you don't want to make it too dark, right? You don't want to do this like way too dark, really. I don't think, but a mid-tone wash. So middle, not too light, not too dark. And the reason is I can read my lighter values more effectively. That's why. If I have this white canvas, I find it hard to get to read and get to these lighter colors. Okay, does that make sense, Bob? Does that? The other thing is, okay, if you're just beginning, all right, let's just say you're a month in or 6 months in or a year in, it can be kind of daunting to look at a white canvas and be like, shoot, man, I gotta turn this into something, but when you get a wash on, it gets you going, get the juices going, like a warm up, you know what I mean? So I think there's multiple benefits to a wash. If you don't want to use one and you don't like it, whatever. But for me, it's not habit. I think through things, and so it's because I want to tone the canvas a mid-tone so I can read my other colors, especially my lights, more effectively. Hope that makes sense. Ron says, cool, thanks. Hope I answered your question there, Ron. Thank you for your great question, and Bob, you as well. And Dan says, the wash helps me get my values. The wash helps me get my values. Yeah, good point, Dan. I mean, really, that's a great point. Values, I always, we talk about color, but if you don't get your values, your structural values in place pretty quickly, you're kind of screwed in your painting. And so for Dan, his wash helps him somehow in his mind, okay, I see my wash, I see what it is. Now I know how to make my darkest dark. Now I know where my light should be. So I hope that gives you some good information, about washes. And that's a great question because every part of the painting is important, including the wash. It's not just something that people do for the heck of it. So AZ says the wash is in shadow colors. So I was trying to follow you, AZ. The wash is in shadow colors. Yeah, like you can. Yeah, you could do that. Like this wash for this. I forget what I used for that day. I just forget what I used out there in the field. It was 3 years ago. But for this, I think it was like cool shadow colors. If that's what you're asking, it's okay to do that. Yeah, you can use a wash of any color. Just don't use titanium white. It messes up the tinting of whatever goes on over top of that. Just don't use titanium white. So just use some pure colors, and you know, an example would be alizarin crimson and cerulean blue, or alizarin crimson. And don't put it on real thick. Use a lot of terp, a lot of Gamsol, whatever you're using, and make it watercolor, make it drip, and then take your paper towel and wash off as much of it as you want, or as little of it as you want. But sometimes you see me on here where my wash gets too, like when we were painting fruit in the summer, I would get too drippy, and it was hard for me to go over. So that's why I take a paper towel after you do your wash. I take a paper towel and I wipe the drippy excess off there so that my next layer can go on smooth as butter. So that might be a good tip to help you too. Well, cool. Fire them at me, man. Keep going. You guys are great. You got great feedback, great questions, and this will really help people to read the chat. And they do after they watch this. So if I missed anything, welcome again. If you're just joining us, we're doing a live. We love plein air painting, and we love being outdoors. And even if you don't plein air paint, we're trying to encourage you to start, because it's good for the soul. I think everybody on here would agree that there's something different and unique about plein air painting compared to studio painting and reference photograph painting. Nothing wrong with that. I do it sometimes, very rarely, but sometimes. But there's something about, getting out there, especially in the stress of all this world and all the negativity, to just get some fresh air, chill out, relax, paint, create, use a different part of your brain. So that was my pitch for you, you guys on the fence and gals who, so one of you guys here, Dan, and you guys, back me up, man, and try to talk these guys into start plein air painting if they haven't already. That's what I'm trying to do. But Dan says, I like my wash to show through in certain spots. Yeah. Good point. I missed that. Thank you, Dan. Is that's a very, very cool effect. And you can use like a bright color, like an orange, and a yellow for your wash. And you can just use that for your wash, and then let it show through in certain selective spots, and it creates, I think, like Dan, I don't know if you would agree, but I always talk about that effect that the Impressionists had, broken color effect, where we always have like one color over top of another, next to another color, letting the underlayer show through, like a kaleidoscope, right? That's a cool effect, and people like to look at that. So I think that's what you're talking about. Ron's saying being outside is great for the soul. Yeah, thank you, brother. It is, man. It really, I can tell. I'm itching. I haven't been out, and because I'm just having to do office work and other things, and girls are busy with volleyball and everything else. But man, I am chomping at the bit to get out of the house and refresh my soul. So thank you, Ron. I appreciate that very much. But hey, well, as we broken color technique, right, with the Impressionists, right? That's very cool. I tend to, unfortunately, I just tend to use so much thick paint that I cover most of my wash up a lot of times. But if you're purposeful like Dan is and you have a plan, that can be a really cool, effective technique. Try that sometime. But hey, just a quick announcement here about the show for you regulars before we let you go. And feel free to just keep firing the questions if you got them. I'll stay on here as long as you like. Oh man, we got an Apache flying overhead here. Just give me 1 second. Maybe it's Flight for Life. Hopefully it's not Flight for Life. Hopefully it was an Apache. I doubt it was an Apache. They found me, man. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, so this show. Okay, so hey, what we're gonna do with this Friday live show? It's every Friday at 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. I'm gonna unfortunately had to make a really, really tough decision, but I'm gonna have to switch it to once a month. So we're gonna have to back it up and just kind of do it on first Friday. So the best way to follow me and keep track of all this stuff, 'cause I know you're busy and I don't expect you to, but put it in your calendar if you can. But if you can't, subscribe to my newsletter down below. Hit the link down below in the description. Any of those free videos you see that are unlisted, if you click on those, you'll immediately get access to my newsletter and our community there. And that's where I announce stuff like that. But I got to say that just really quickly, not to elaborate on it too much, but I don't talk about it too much, but the business side of, I'm a full-time artist, right? And it's time. It's really just a time thing. Doing this live takes a lot more time than I thought it would. And really, I've got an obligation with Skillshare. Do any of you guys do Skillshare? If you don't, go to Skillshare.com. For $15 a month. Like my kids do it. My kids homeschool, and like we take some of the classes. Their education is on Skillshare. They have 5,000 classes on anything you could ever want to take: business, health, nutrition, finance, art. And I'm creating a course for Skillshare, and it's a paid course. And then I'm trying to create digital courses for my website for my students, because hey, they're commercial free. We all got to make money. It's something that you can have, forever. But anyways, I got to create more courses. This takes like a lot of hours in a week to do. And I love, 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 love doing this. And I love, love interacting with you. This is probably my most favorite part of the week, really. So it breaks my heart, you don't have to do that. But that's okay. It'll make it all that much more special when we gather once a month on that first Friday. So we'll do the first Friday of every month. I'll be here at 9 a.m. Mountain time. And we'll continue to do the same kind of stuff, And hey, if something changes, we'll go back to every week. But for now, I just got to commit my schedule to other things like my long form videos with the YouTube and go that direction. But if you have other questions, let me know. Lost them. Hope you didn't lose me. Am I still with you? All right, let me just read the chat and just see. Dan says, I like my wash. I'm missing some stuff here. Okay, thanks. Appreciate you guys. I think I'm missing. Okay, let me go down here if you're still with me. Okay, I guess I lost you, but if I'm still with you, it says I'm still live. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say goodbye. Click this video. I'll put another video up here, but it's talking about colors. It's vibrant colors. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's got some of my best information, and it really, truly does. Vibrant colors, 12 tips, something like that. But I'll put it right up here. God bless you guys, and hey, paint well, paint from the heart, paint with passion and emotion. And we'll see you up in the mountains, man. I'll catch you next time. Thanks for your support. Take care.